This video is brought to you by
Cool Grain Clothing. We done gone worldwide and we coming straight out of Baltimore. Come on down, shop with us at 215 West Saratoga Street. And if you can't come and shop with us in person, go online right now at coolgrainclothing.com and make your purchase. Oh yeah, and by the way, if you ain't cool and getting the green, you're in the way, and that's just basic.
What's going on, YouTube, fam? This your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of the Baltimore Way, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. For the day one, fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Oh yeah, feel free to share the channel with your peoples. Everybody is welcome. Let's get right into the story. In a lot of cities around the world, it's young men and women fighting daily just to be themselves. What I mean by that is, when you come from a certain place where as a kid, you can't even do kid things without being looked at a certain kind of way or being judged, it takes a toll on a young person's mind. We all know right now the hoppers or shorties are very active in the streets, and the age they are jumping off the porch at is getting younger and younger. As a parent, you try your best to provide the necessary tools for your child to be alright out here. A roof over their head, clothes, food, discipline, and love. But despite what's done in-house, it's another element of growing up as a young person. And that's what you see and are exposed to outside. Since I was younger, it's always been a kind of grooming process in the neighborhood. Older guys will see a hopper that's always outside, a little more advanced than the other kids their age, and take them under their wing. Sometimes it's to guide them in the right direction. Like, shorty, go play ball or go to school. Ain't nothing slick going on out here. But most of the time, it's for their own personal gain. As a juvenile, you can catch serious charges and be home within a few hours, as long as your mother or some adults come to get you. So in the street dude's mind, that's an opportunist, we can use shorty to do our dirty work, hold guns, packs, hit cells, and unfortunately, for so many kids, once they get caught up in a cycle, some don't make it out. And on this episode of the Baltimore Way, we'll be discussing a heartbreaking case of Jaylen Richards, a 12-year-old boy who lost his life after being pressured into the streets. Back in 2023, Jaylen Richards, also known as J-Rock around his way, was a 12-year-old kid growing up in South Baltimore. Him and his family lived in Westport, as most of us Baltimoreans know as the projects out there. But despite that, the preteen's family tried to keep him on the right track, focused, and let him be a normal kid by going to school, coming home, and spending time with his family. Jaylen was a 6th grader at Westport Academy. When he was in his neighborhood, Jaylen was described as a leader, the little guy with a big personality who kept all the old heads laughing. But somewhere in the mix, things had shifted for the young man. According to family, he started paying more attention to the street guys around his way, and the fascination soon turned to him coming around trying to get in the mix. Whether they gave him a little pack to sell for a few extra dollars or sent him on a bigger mission to go carjack somebody. The thing, Jaylen was always told that he had to put in work to work his way up in the squad in the neighborhood and to help them make money. As Jaylen started catching charges, his family would often tell shorty that the older guys who he considered his friends were using him. But by this time, he was in too deep and doing things most 12-year-olds only saw on TV. As time went on, Jaylen racked up more charges, and eventually he would be put on the box. His family felt it might help the young man open his eyes or slow him down. On April 15, 2023, it was a little bit after 9 p.m. and a typical night in Westport. Jaylen was outside, close by his house, when a car spent the block and spotted the young man. As they approached him, he tried to run away, but seconds later, an assault rifle went off. As people in the community heard the shots, they called BPD, who responded to Westport to find Jaylen laying in the street, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. He was rushed to a local hospital in critical condition and went into surgery, but unfortunately, the young man wouldn't survive his injuries. Back at the scene, even the police were in disbelief that somebody would target a 12-year-old boy and chase him down with an assault rifle, letting off a bunch of shots. But police had no leads or suspects. As the news got back to his family, his mother was devastated. She stated she tried to keep baby boy from going down that road, and his grandmother opened up about how he was used. She felt he jumped into the streets to help benefit other people. She stated he would often take charges, even carjack people, but Jaylen himself couldn't drive, so she knew he was doing it for others. She felt either they turned on him or somebody they sent him to do something to doubled back and caught the young man by himself. Either way, he was taken advantage of by the older guys. His grandmother stated they still can go home and hug their peoples, but her baby was gone. As the news spread through the community, people were shocked and hurt. Community organizations came through to check on residents in the area, as many people were scared to even be on camera because they didn't want no one to think they was offering up information. Jaylen's aunt pleaded for answers as the family grieved. She felt like he was a baby and he didn't deserve what happened to him at all. His grandmother and others in the community called out the city and their leaders, asking what was the help for the kids, like programs, and why was it so easy for them to get their hands on a gun rather than other activities. One mother who had recently moved her son out of the same area to Hagerstown, Maryland, spoke out about the situation. She stated it wasn't so much of what goes on in the neighborhoods, but it was the fact her son told her he felt like he didn't have a choice but to go outside and participate, or he himself could be in harm's way. As time went on, a vigil was held for Jaylen. Hundreds of people showed up from all over to show their support. The story went nationwide, as some even compared the young man to the Chicago story of 11-year-old Yummy, a gang member who was forced to put in work for his gang before they turned around and took his life in the 90s. But even with all the publicity, no information ever came up on who took Jaylen's life. Only a shattered family and community left with memories. As one family friend wanted the world to know, just because he lived in the projects doesn't mean write Jaylen off as a bad kid or a product of his environment. As of now, Jaylen's case is still unsolved, and the city is still dealing with a crisis of young men and women losing their life at an alarming rate. Rest in peace to Jaylen. I send my deepest prayers and condolences to his family. 12 years old, Shorty was a baby. I'm not saying what he was out here doing was right, but he definitely was manipulated being that young without no guidance. He probably looked at the older guys as his big brothers or father figures just to be sent off. It's sad that in certain places, kids got to grow up that fast. By the time they are 18 or 19, they have been through so much, they already are beat down in life, looking a lot older than they really are with no motivation out here. I will never forget, right before I left the city, one of my little homies I used to always pull up on and talk to, I pulled up on him one day and told him I was gone. I was trying to find a better way of life. I asked him why he sat on the steps and counted his pills in his pack, will he ever leave? And he stated, no, this is all I know. Where else would I go? At the time, he was only 16. As a parent, how do you stop that way of thinking and your kid feeling like they got to be a part of the streets? It's the answer just to move away, because unfortunately, everybody doesn't have the means just to pick up and go. Do we depend on city leaders, or do we just try to shelter our kids from the world? I want to know y'all thoughts about this situation in the comments, and tell me what you think could be done to keep our young kids out the streets and from making mistakes like this. Yeah, man, messed up situation. Rest in peace, baby boy Jaylen. I definitely send my prayers to his family. But I ain't gonna talk too much more about this one. Y'all leave it in the comments. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. It's another episode of the Baltimore Way. It's your boy Tony 2 times. Love, fam. I'm out.